Buds, welcome to...
I wasn't ready.
Nope. Alright.
Sorry.
Go ahead and
right.
do you have your makeup on? You got your foundation?
Clearly, I look amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, just gonna do that.
It's just gonna be really
Cacao.
awkward the second time around.
You don't have to cut this. Keep this in. Keep this in.
People are gonna be expecting it now. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a surprise, like, alright. What's up, buds? Welcome to another episode of the Earbuds Podcast. This is a podcast where two good buds talk about one good album for a good amount of time. This episode, I am going to be hosting with my co-host, Lucas.
A special episode.
It's a special episode.
Yeah.
I'm Ash the Rapper. Joined with me, as always, Lucas, the other rapper.
Indrakovs.
Indrakovs.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to make sure that we're good enough for acquaintances that you know how to pronounce my name.
I mean, I feel like top fives is when I got to start worrying about that. You're still in like the bottom 10.
Okay.
So
you just kind of repeated what I said like a baby.
Yeah.
It was just sounds to you.
Yeah. It's just like
okay.
Goo Goo Gaga, just like always, really.
Well, Ash, I don't think I have to be the one to remind you that people die in the summertime.
Wow, Lucas, that, weirdly enough, that's a seamless transition into what we're talking about today, which is Chance the Rapper's second mixtape, Acid Rap.
I didn't know this was a mixtape until like the third or fourth time I listened to it.
Yep, it was a big thing for him. He had 3 mixtapes, I believe. If not more. He had like 10 Days, Acid Rap, and The Coloring Book. And
the Coloring Book was another EP?
It was a mixtape, yeah.
Or a mixtape? Wow, dude. Like, these feel like full-fledged albums.
Well, and so that's why it's so weird that when his first album came out, his first, like, album with a record label came out, The Big Day, that it was kind of a flop and was kind of horrendously criticized, and people kind of hated it a little bit.
Why?
There are a lot of reasons. Fantano gave it a 0, if I remember correctly. A 0 out of 10.
I watched a video of his today that was, it was like the 9 minutes of Fantano going off on like bad bars, or like shitty rap bars, and at least one of them was from The Big Day.
Yeah.
And he like read a couple lines and it sounded awful.
The thing is, on this album, Chance just spews personality. He just oozes personality. He has all these great lines that are kind of dense with references, interesting rhyming schemes, interesting deliveries, and
used to like orange cassette tapes with Timmy, Tommy, and Chucky.
Tommy, and Chucky.
Chucky Cheese's Pieces.
Cheese's Pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking great. I like his, like, you're right. It does ooze just like charisma and just a lot of like personality, like you said.
Yeah.
Like, he does a lot of goofy things on here, and it totally works. And I thought his lyricism was great on this album.
I think that's kind of where it went wrong with that latest record, The Big Day, is that this goofiness and this kind of personality, I'm sure could very easily turn into being way too cheesy and being just like not as endearing anymore, and more as just
I heard he gets kind of preachy.
It can be a little preachy. It's just there are a lot of like weird lines on The Big Day which are really whack and
that's
just
a shame.
Stupid and silly. But it's, I don't know, like he's goofy on this one too. So it's like it's kind of hard to explain, but something just happened between Coloring Book and that album.
Interesting. Honestly, like I didn't know what to expect from this album. Like this is the first that I've heard from Chance the Rapper. Literally, like the first outside of Baby Blue, Action Bronson song that he was featured on, which I fucking love that track and love his feature on that album or on that track. It's I haven't heard anything else by him, so like this, I didn't know what to expect, especially going into something called acid rap, because what I'd heard about Chance as of late was that he was kind of preachy. He's getting a little like, my life is amazing. I love my wife. I love my kid. Like type of no real like attitude.
I mean,
Behind
it's like,
his raps, and I was surprised to hear like some of the stuff they actually talked about on this.
yeah, it's he kind of goes all over the place on subject matter for this record, going from things as goofy and braggadocious to things that are like very serious, like Paranoia, where he's talking about kind of the troubles of his neighborhood and just like being ignored by news outlets and things like that.
Yeah, it was surprising to hear Chance like have gun talk,
Yeah,
like gun rhymes and all these weed rhymes and stuff. I didn't expect that from someone who I've heard be called preachy and kind of like a little too squeaky clean now.
I mean, he's one of the biggest music acts out of Chicago, I'd say. And he was very real, and fame
Have you heard of
changes you,
Kanye?
I'm sure. Huh?
Have you heard of Kanye? Kanye West?
Is that like the Machine? Conway the Machine?
No, Kanye the West.
Is that like a direction or?
Okay,
No.
so you haven't. Okay,
No,
he's
I haven't
another.
ever
He's
heard.
another dude from Chicago that's kind of big.
Maybe to other people. Does he kind of have like a humble personality, kind of like soft spoken?
That's not how I would describe him. He's let's.
Does he
He's
have any
from
albums
Chicago.
out?
Yeah, just look it up. You'll
All right. Yeah, I'll do.
you'll know what I mean.
check that out later.
Yeah, check it out later. But yeah, I was surprised to hear like the gun talk and the weed talk and the, calling girls bitches and talking about fucking and all this stuff that I just again like had no idea what to expect. And his feature on Baby Blue is like, I think he says titties in it, and I think that's like the only curse word. I know, right? Like I hear titties and I was just like, okay, so this guy must be kind of clean, like rap kind of clean, and he doesn't.
No, not really. I mean, at this point, I think he's, like, he was pretty young when this EP came out, I believe. And he was, like, kind of just out of high school, 2013. So his, like, last mixtape talked a lot about his teachers and kind of his, like, school problems and stuff. And
Interesting.
So this is kind of the next step, and I guess throughout the last nearly 10 years now, he's matured a lot. And so maybe he's kind of in a dad stage with this latest record, and it's not as not as charismatic and not as endearing.
Yeah, I
but
can't imagine
man,
it is.
I had such an appreciation going back and reading these lyrics.
Yeah.
It's so many clever lines, a lot of funny stuff, a lot of really good wordplay.
I love just like the way that he'll repeat sounds, kind of. Like I know he's just rapping, but it's just the way he does it reminds me of The Game a little bit at times, where he says like, my druggie when I'm ugly, hug me when I'm bummy, scummy, I'm your hubby. Just like all these little
He does do
just
that a lot.
yeah, on this album he does that a lot, and it's just every time it's just so, is like charming a weird word for it?
No, I don't think so.
I think it's charming, and I just want to preface like everything that I'm about to say and probably what we're about to say is like, we are not hip hop experts at all.
That's yes, that's very fair.
I don't even think like personally, I don't think I'm part of like hip hop culture. Like I'm a huge fan of hip hop. It's probably my favorite genre of music. But I don't claim to be part of the culture or even like fully understand the culture either when it comes to like what I'm supposed to respect and what I'm supposed to like and what I'm not supposed to like and everything. So I don't know what I'm supposed to reject outright or call out for being fake or whatever. So this is like 1,000% just like how much, like everything I'm going to say is like just what I thought of the album as like a fan of music.
Yes, yes.
And as a whole, the album as a whole and the individual songs as like their own pieces of art. And it's like, that's all. I'm just going to comment in on that. I don't know shit about what this album means to like hip hop culture or anything like that.
All right.
preface.
What is this leading up to?
Disclaimer. No, that's it. I actually really like this album.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Like like with that said, I love the overall sort of like, it's called acid rap, and I think it's a great title for it because it's like jazzy acid jazz kind of beats a lot of the times and just super chill the whole time.
Yeah, it's super chill. The production on the whole record, I think, is fantastic, especially
So good.
for it just being a mixtape.
Mhm.
It's got.
That's why I was surprised to realize it was a mixtape because it just sounds so good.
Yeah, it's like probably he's released some of the best mixtapes out there. I haven't heard many myself, honestly, but I mean.
But judging from this one, he's released some of the best mixtapes ever.
Yeah, judging from this mixtape.
Okay,
Only
got
one
it.
I've heard.
Got
I've heard
it.
like 3 other mixtapes. I don't know. But the production is great. There are varying so many different influences of music across this whole record.
Yeah, you can hear a lot of gospel on here and a lot of like southern influence, like southern hip hop. Like there were a few tracks that sounded like could be an Outkast beat or something, and I really liked it.
There was on the Action Bronson feature song, it kind of just sounded like a Bronson beat,
100%. That song,
nah.
you were so right, man.
Oh no.
You warned me about that song because, as you know, Action is my favorite rapper.
Yep.
And yeah, you're right. It's like one of the weakest on the album.
I told you
And
not to get your hopes up on that one.
You didn't. You told me not to get my hopes up, but it was also a big part of that had to do with the beat on it. It felt like a very ham-fisted Action Bronson type beat. So I don't know if Chance picked it or if Action picked it, but it was like it didn't exactly work for either of them. And
Yeah, it was kind of. It's got this like MIDI sounding fretless bass line kind of going. It sounds like, and the hook on it is just.
so annoying.
It's like kind of annoying, and it kind of sounds like they wanted it to be annoying. Honestly,
The whole na 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 thing was like pretty. It got old right away, yeah. And it was sort of a swing and a miss, the whole thing. Like I think Chance's slow rapping on it was kind of ruined the energy on the song. It was like too staccato and like stunted for me. Like the energy level never built on that song. It was all just kind of like flat the entire thing. And I think you're right that they tried to make like a funny song, maybe like sort of like Baby Blue, because Baby Blue is kind of funny, but it just didn't
kinda
work
like
for me,
goofy,
man.
I would say.
It's kind of goofy, and but I will say that Action's verse worked for me. Like I thought it was pretty par with the stuff that he'd been putting out at the time, like Mr. Wonderful and Blue Chips
Yeah.
and stuff. So yeah, it was just
Introducing his Bronsolino. When I slick
Yeah.
my hair back, I look like Ray Patino.
see like that's just like I'm used to hearing that from him.
Yeah.
So I liked it. But other than that song, really, and I'll just say across the board too, I fucking hate his little
No.
dude.
I
That shit got old so fast.
it's so funny. The reason I got into Trance the Rapper is because my brother was listening to it.
Your brother?
Specifically, my brother.
My brother.
Specifically the song Juice. And he kept making these weird noises in the song, like, ah. And I thought, like, I showed my friend, like, oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. And we kept listening, like, damn, this isn't bad, though.
This is actually good. Yeah.
Like, he's not, he's a pretty good rapper, though. He's got some
Juice
good
is
shit.
Juice is a good song, but like kind of one of my least favorites on the song too, or on the record.
Yeah, is it, like, a little too much for you? Or?
It's like it's very Chicago. Like very
Yeah.
boppy. It sounds like a no-name track. Kind of
Sure.
weird that there's like some controversy around it, where like he couldn't clear the beat, so you can only listen to it on YouTube, and he made a music video. But
Yeah.
I wonder what they sampled that they couldn't get rights to that song on streaming. Like it's kind of weird.
I don't know. I mean, maybe at one point they were trying to get it on, but it seems like as soon as it released, they were like, whatever. We're
but
not
it's
gonna,
been like
ever
8
update
years.
this. Yeah.
It's been like so long since this album came out, and it's still not on Spotify. It's very
and
weird.
he's like a much more recognized name, though I think he only put this stuff on streaming like 3 or 4 years ago, honestly. I think it was kind of recent.
It's weird that it's still not on Spotify. Maybe it's for the very reason where it's like every play that it gets, some money gets donated or something. Like all the money that he makes from that song specifically.
Yeah, I think he said it went to social services, which is kind of vague.
Yeah, very vague.
But whatever.
Like he gives it to just his big brother, like not from Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America. He's like, I just give the money to my big brother.
Yeah, I just give it, whatever.
Or my little brother. But yeah, other than that, like there's, tons of really good wordplay and lyricism like on the whole album. I was really impressed with all the different rhyming styles that he used on the record, like all the internal rhymes, and he'll do the he'll do like the classic A-B stuff that it'll be like A-A-B-B, A-A-B-C-C, like all this just all over the place, dude. And I was really impressed with the whole thing. Like again, coming into this almost completely, I was gonna say blind, but I guess like deaf to Chance. Like I somehow was able to avoid Chance the Rapper for like this long. So listening to this like completely fresh ears, way better than I thought it was gonna be.
I was hesitant about bringing him up to you because I'm
such a fucking dick.
Because I was like, I don't really care about you in the first place.
You're like, I don't care to put you on to some good music.
Yeah. But mainly, like, I think specifically with you, we've done this podcast long enough that we can kind of have a general feeling of what the other's going to think. And, like, for a long time, I thought, like, I don't know. I think Lucas is just going to get annoyed by Chance's voice throughout the album.
You wouldn't be completely wrong. Because the first like 2 times I listened to this album, I really did not like it at all.
It's very high pitched.
It's all just kind of corny. Like it all sounded kind of corny to me.
Yeah, it's corny.
A little too
almost grating.
A little bit, and it's not really just his delivery. Like it is just kind of the things that he talks about. Like on was it like coffee or like cigarettes? What's that song called?
Oh, Cocoa Butter Kiss, cigarettes on cigarettes. My
mama thinks I stink. Yeah, super catchy, but also on the parts where he's like, "We're all addicted. We're all addicted." I'm like, oh god, it just sounds like really up his own ass.
Wasn't that
at
Vic
times?
Mensa?
Whoever it was.
I think we're all addicted.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, either way. That was just Vic Mensa over and over again saying that?
I think so. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay, well, either way, that made it to the fucking album. And there were just moments like that where I was like, this is feeling very, like, holier than thou at times. Or, like, just a little corny or, kind of like... You ever see Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Or,
like, Get Him to the
Carrey
Greek?
Movie?
Anyway, there's a really...
Jim Carrey in it, yeah.
No. There's a really, like, vapid, kind of up his own ass, self-congratulatory musician in that movie. And it, he's a very extreme version of Chance, but I feel like there's just moments of that across this album. And I'm just like, the first 2 times I'm like, oh my god, this guy, like, just thinks he's so, like, aren't I so cute? Like, aren't I so, like, talented? Like, it just felt like there was a lot of that where he was just, like, kind of, like, looking at himself rapping and just being like, oh my god, dude, I fucking love myself. And it just kind of got to me. And then after I got past that, there's just so much like catchy, fun music on this. And again, like really good wordplay and rhymes, and like it's just all over the place with the rhyme schemes. Like honestly, to the point where I really do feel like some of these songs could like be used in a college course about like hip hop poetry and wordplay or something.
Right.
Or like how good you can actually get while talking about everything from guns to girls to weed to drugs to love to hate and anger and like everything in between. And it's like really fucking impressive, man.
Yeah. It's very impressive at times, though. I definitely think you coming into the record with your kind of like your preconceived judgments of who Chance was might have influenced a little bit. But I think he does.
Absolutely.
He does definitely kind of get on his, his Apple box sometimes.
Yeah, it can kind of get to me at times.
But I don't know. I think at the time he was definitely like he was really loved in his community. He was very respected amongst the people in his community, and I feel like he did kind of have some good stuff to say about the stuff he was saying. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and he was the themes, like the content that he's rapping about, is all over the place. Like we said, like he'll talk about guns and drugs and girls, but then also he'll talk about like his, what's happening in his community, and he'll just talk about having a good party, and just having fun, and like it's a lot of the beats do a really good job of like getting that kind of vibe across too in the song, depending on what he's talking about, right? Like like on favorite song sounds like, he talks about like, this is my favorite song, I drive around listening to it, blah blah, and it's like it does sound like a song that's just like just like everyone's just like hey, like it's just such a fun party song, and it's just a perfect beat for that. And like you mentioned Paranoid or Paranoia, same thing, man. The super dark beat, like almost reminding me of like if Clipping could fucking just chill out.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
If they could just calm the fuck down,
if they could just
a little bit.
Kind of go in the corner for a second, take a breather, come back real quick.
Yeah, or just like smoke some weed rather than some fucking ketamine or whatever the hell they're doing.
Yeah, it's probably ketamine is what they're doing.
Probably. But he is rapping about some like pretty dark, heavy shit at times throughout this record, and it somehow pairs really well with like his little dance rap stuff that, it kind of tricks you into not realizing that he's talking about really deep shit a lot of the times.
Yeah. And I would say, kind of who he is, like his voice being kind of a little goofy at times and kind of having this a little cheesy delivery in these serious moments, it kind of makes it sound a little more genuine and a little more like kind of like you're just like hanging out with your friend or something, and he's just like talking this shit with you.
I mean, you know how important a rapper's voice is.
Yeah.
Like, if their voice is annoying, I cannot get into it. So, like, that's the reason why I love, like, I guess a lot of people wouldn't call Lizzo rap, but, like, when she's rapping, I think she sounds fucking awesome. Same with, like, Megan Thee Stallion. Like, I think they both have, like, awesome rap voices.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's plenty, like, dudes as well. So, we talked about Mozzie recently.
Yeah.
And I wanted to like it, and I literally, for some reason, just hated his voice. I just couldn't fucking do it. And Chance's voice didn't really annoy me too much. It was more his lyrics that annoyed me versus his, like, delivery or, how nasally his voice is. Like, on Na Na or whatever. Like,
Yeah, I would say that's probably the worst offender.
That's peak fucking annoying Chance on that song. Yeah. No doubt.
But let's get into some choices, baby. Into some choice nugs. Our top two favorite songs on the record, baby.
Yeah, our choice nugs, man. Real quick, we didn't mention that randomly Chief Keef got like 3 or 4 shout-outs on this album.
Yeah, he did. Another fucking Chicago.
You ever listen to him?
Not really, no.
I've checked out a fair amount of his stuff, and I gotta admit, I don't understand why he's such a big deal to Chicago. I know that he's huge for their culture, but I just do not like his stuff very much.
Maybe it's more of a community thing than a music thing.
It might be. But yeah, man. Some of my honorable mentions before we get into the choice nugs.
Please, if you could use the term. We have to start branding so we can get the merch.
We need the shirts and the mugs, I know. Where I liked the intro a lot. I love that they sampled Kanye's intro from College Dropout.
Yeah, right.
I thought that was great. By far one of my favorite all-time like hip hop records, College Dropout.
And you said, but that's by who?
Kanye the West. Look him up. Kanye the West.
He's not that important, is he?
Not anymore. But also, I think the album ends really strong. I love the last 3 songs: Acid Rain, Chainsmoker, and Everything's Cool. I think those are all really, really good songs. And favorite song, like we mentioned. But I would say my first choice nug, man, and it's not that hard for me to pick because I love this song, is Paranoia.
That's my first nug as well.
Really? Yeah.
Probably my favorite song on the record. I
think it's mine too.
It seems like it's his most intimate song. The beat is just pure serotonin to me. It's got
Yeah.
these kind of drifty, dreamy, almost toy box sounding synths on it. It just has,
Very bedroom pop
yeah, and
vibe of just like, you're either gonna fuck or sleep
yeah,
to this song.
probably sleep. I don't know.
Probably
who's
sleep.
fucking to this song.
In your case, because you haven't slept in like 5 days.
It's only been 4. All right,
Oh, my bad.
just chill out.
How does this not put you to sleep, this song?
Well, the lyrics are enticing, I'd say.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's got some.
And at
of my-
times it did remind me of Clipping. I brought up Clipping earlier too, but he literally says like people die in the summertime or people get shot in the summertime, and there's
Yeah.
that one Clipping song.
Yeah,
Motherfuckers
summertime.
still die in the summertime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it probably for the same reason.
I mean, apparently
kinda
people in
what-
Chicago got something going on in the summertime.
But this song has some of my favorite lyrics on it. Move to the neighborhood, but they don't stay for good. Watch. Someone told Daddy's rolling. Call that the neighborhood watch. I was like, all right.
I understood why he was talking about guns in the first verse, because when he gets to the second verse, he's talking about like how dangerous his neighborhood is. It kind of makes sense. Like, easier to find a gun than it is to find a fucking parking spot
Yep.
is an amazing line.
It's one of my favorites.
Such a dark, real line, dude.
It's like, yeah, it's legit.
The whole second verse is like wonderful poetry, and even though it's fucking heartbreaking, the shit that
Yeah.
he's talking about. And I like the song. I like the fact that the song like takes a turn halfway through and becomes like even trippier and dreamier for the last like minute or two,
Right.
where the beat just sort of changes out of nowhere. I thought that's a really cool change too.
And this song has a lot of room on it. It kind of has a lot of time where there's not many instruments, no vocals, and it just kind
Yeah.
of lets you simmer on the stuff that's being said.
That, and let the music do its thing too, like push that effect over. You know,
Yeah.
it's like THC versus terpenes or whatever.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, the terpenes direct you where you're going, and the THC fucking tells you how fast you're gonna get there. You know? Okay.
I mean, we'll get to
Trying
that.
trying to fucking drop some game on you right now.
I mean, if you need to teach me something, you go ahead and teach me something, man.
I'm trying. You're just refusing my knowledge.
I'm sure eventually, just through osmosis, I've probably learned
You'll learn.
more about weed just from talking to you than I've ever in like anywhere else.
I think it's like that with a lot of my friends. Honestly, like earlier, I was talking with some friends, and they were talking about how they like to microdose shrooms, and I was like, well, interesting fact. Like, I've just recently learned that they've done a study on depression that they found that depression can actually might actually be caused by an inflammation, like in your body. And it just kind of like slows everything down. Your brain doesn't work as well, and it puts you in a bad mood and all that stuff, you know. So they said like psilocybin is a natural anti-inflammatory.
Oh.
So yeah, and it has those aspects to it. So a lot of people that microdose, like the reason why they just kind of it feels like it improves their mood and makes them kind of feel lighter and everything's a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
Might be because it's reducing the inflammation in your body, and it's like you feel how you're supposed to be feeling.
Yeah.
Every day,
Right.
Because so it's a kind of interesting
I didn't know.
thing. So I like, yeah, and I was telling my friends that they're just like talking about how they love microdosing and they kind of feel it every now and then and blah blah. And I'm just like, yeah, anti-inflammatory, blah blah. And they're just like, yep, makes sense. I'm like, I love to like geek out about this shit, and then some people are, you know, not everyone is as into it as I am.
Well, you could just be,
I'm like a child.
look, you're just a fucking nerd, you know.
I'm
And
a drug nerd,
You're kind of a drug nerd, and that's something you got to live with.
even though I'm scared by most drugs.
Yes,
But I'm fascinated
the
by
ones
them.
you enjoy.
Oh
very
boy,
much.
do I like them. Yeah. Shout out No Till Kings. Your Jack the Ripper is still fucking me up right now. But what is one of your okay? So Paranoia was one of your choice
Paranoia
knives, man.
was
So
one of mine. I'll give
what's
you
your
my
second
honorable
one?
mentions right
give me your NARS. Give me your NARS.
now. Juice, was the first song I ever heard by Chance, so it kind of has a special place in my heart.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Lost is a beautiful song with No Name. Love No Name's verse on that. Acid Rain, great beat. Everything's
Yeah.
good. Fantastic outro. But
Yes.
my second choicey is going to be Even Better Than I Was the Last Time, Baby. Good ass intro, baby.
Oh, wow.
He's just spitting bars on this one. It's so fucking good. Every time I hear this song, I start kind of like getting hyped for the album that's coming up, you know?
Yeah, it's a great intro, man. Especially when I realized that they were like when they did the first like I'm good. I'm like
good.
what a cool homage, man. And you're right, it's a great intro.
Yeah, it's got this very kind of Chicago blues jazz kind of feel about the whole thing. It gets energetic.
Dude, that beat is crazy. That kind of. It's really fast, like completely unexpected for especially a hip hop record, much less the intro to a hip hop record.
Right. Yeah.
I liked it. It was really good.
Love the energy. Love the just line after line after line after line of just it's stuff that I had no idea until I was reading the lyrics. I had like my appreciation for Chance as a rapper just like went up so much.
Like the line "motherfucker money dance 100 Zans gotta lean." I'm like, there's 3 different things going on in there already.
Yeah.
And then he follows it with make a joke about Leonard's hair, then piggyback on Fallon's spleen.
It's just so much. He loves doing that shit. It's like almost like Doom levels of rhyme obsession.
And it's easy to not notice those things while you're listening to it because the music to me was just on a lot of the songs was very distracting, whether that's in a good way or a bad way, you know?
I love that. I love that there's a bunch of stuff going on in these beats.
Yeah. Yeah, that shouldn't surprise me. You love the beats that have like, you know, what's the handsome what's that guy that you liked a lot, that rap duo that I showed you that I didn't even like that much?
Yeah, that was fucking Sandman.
Yeah.
And Eden, Homeboy Sandman.
Homeboy Sandman, that's right. And like you like clipping and stuff, so it shouldn't surprise me that you like the
it's kind of like weird offbeat kind of thing a little bit. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
What's your second choice?
My second choice, Snug, it was really hard to pick between Cocoa Butter Kisses and Everybody's Something. And eventually Everybody's Something took the second spot.
I believe Chance said that's his favorite song on the record.
Really?
Yeah. Everybody, somebody's everything. It's like a really nice song to kind of, it's an empowering song. You know?
Yeah, it's a really cool beat, really cool concept, like what they're talking about on the record, and I love that they sample Slum Village's "Fall in Love." The like I love that fucking song, and apparently it's a really cool sample of like a Chuck Mangione song too.
Oh.
Diana and the Autumn Wind, and I'm not sure exactly. I don't know if that's the same sample or what, but I think it is. But yeah, I love like the random Wu-Tang shout out at the end of it, just like little bits that I loved on it, where he just goes Wu-Tang. Like at the very end, I can't help but laugh every time he said that. And like that one word that he said, really weird the whole time too. Like I can't remember the word that he said. Like super weird the entire time, but like that kind of got to me. I realized the word is the N-word.
Oh yeah.
The way that he said it made me laugh.
It did kind of make me laugh too, because it's kind of been a silent, more quiet part of the song.
Yeah, it's a really goofy
like,
delivery of it several times.
Yeah.
And so I got to kind of tiptoe around that, how that made me laugh. But yeah, the song kind of has like a kind of a gangster beat vibe to it too. Like it sounded like the Happiest Griselda Mafia or Griselda people like beat. that you'll ever hear.
It does
and
kind
I
of.
really liked it.
It's got that low end kind of swagger about it the whole time.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Cool muffled like percussions and stuff, and yeah, I love that sample. I love how like wispy the music is the whole time, and it's yeah, man, it took the spot.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into our fucking rankings, man. We go 0 to 10, 0
Yes.
being the least good, 10 being the least bad.
The least bad you could be. Wait.
Yeah.
What?
That's 0 to 10. It's pretty simple. My ranking for this is going to be pretty high.
Okay.
Just because I've been listening to this album a lot. I found a $2 rip that someone sold illegally at Goodwill.
Nice.
And that piqued my interest in it again. I think the production across this entire record's fantastic. Some great, inventive, interesting beats that I really appreciate. Chance's personality is just bursting through this entire record. The lines are fantastic. Lyrics are fantastic. Some annoying stuff. There are times when it could be a little overbearing. Chance,
Yes.
like, Nah wasn't so good. Favorite song was a little annoying to me at times for some reason or another.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought Pusha Man was kind of annoying to me. And Smoke Again, like I kind of didn't like either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But aside from that, just great song after great song, great hooks. Maybe a little bit long. Every time I listen to this album, I was like, wow, there's still a lot more I'm gonna listen to.
Interesting. I didn't feel that way.
So I'm gonna give this one like a solid 8.5.
Hoochie Mama.
Yep.
That's a good one. Yeah, man, I agree with everything you said. Production is great. Chance is great on this album. Like, I went into this completely ignorant to his music, and you know, here we are. And I've listened to what I've heard is like the mixtape that put him on the map,
Yeah.
and deservedly so. Like, whether this is my exact style of hip hop I like or not, which I don't normally gravitate to this style of kind of more like gospel-y hip hop, kind of more good mood, good time hip hop, for the most part.
Sure.
It's still a really, really good album. Like, great lyricism, great beats. You know, I the deep lyrics really got me at times. Like, he goes dark to light a lot in the content of the lyrics, and I can appreciate how good he is at doing both. Yeah, man, I really overall like really enjoyed this album. And it might be getting this rating because I enjoyed it so much more than I thought I was going to,
Okay.
which isn't necessarily a bad thing, right?
No, I like that. I'm a fan of that.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give it a 7.6.
All right, 7.6. Chance's second mixtape, Acid Rap. Thank you all for listening to the podcast, the YouTube video, whatever you're doing. We have YouTube. We have podcasts.
We have YouTube. We have podcasts.
We have podcasts.
We have.
You listen podcasts, it on website.
We have show.
We have show.
We have audio. We have video. Yeah, man, we have over 100 episodes allegedly at this point. So that's cool.
Certainly over 100 at this point.
So that's cool. We have a new show that we're calling the Earbuds Chit Chat, right? That we're doing every Wednesday.
Yep.
We're going to be having a random, you know, off the cuff conversation about different music topics.
I think at this point it's probably been about a month old. By the time this
probably,
episode comes out.
but no one knows about it. Ashley, you know
So
that.
who cares?
So
It's
no
new
one's
to you,
watching.
baby. It's new to
Yeah,
you.
it's new to you. Let us know what you guys thought of this album. Leave us a comment. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Every week we're gonna have 3 new videos coming out: a full-length album review, kind of a shorter album review that we had just listened to of a brand new album that came out that week, and a chit chat. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about on the chit chats. It's all music related topics. We're willing to talk about anything that you guys want us to. Maybe I'll take that back. We're willing to take suggestions.
We're willing to take suggestions and filter out the ones that we want to talk about.
Yes. And Ash, on the next episode, we're going to be talking about an album that I really like by a master of chill wave, washed out. The album's called Purple Noon,
Yeah.
I think. And
Purple
yeah,
Noon.
looking forward to that. Yeah, looking forward to yeah, I put Purple Moon in the text, I think.
You did. I got it. I figured it out.
Okay, good. Yeah, so Ash, I think this was good.
Lucas, this was good.
Thanks for listening and watching and subscribing and reviewing and commenting and liking and following and suggesting.
Okay, bye.